Perhaps one day I'll hit the lotto.
Hello, baby. Hello, home. Hello, honor. Until it's gone. Still, I love her. It's getting late. Torn from my eyes, gone to another place. We'll come right. We'll come right. Come back morning. Come back home. Keep on sewing. These clothes are warm. We talk for hours. Just morning break. Just like the sun leaves to come back again. We'll come right. We'll come right. Call it thunder, call it rain. Never after, it's all the same. Still I love her. It's getting late. It's hard from my eyes go to another place. We'll come right. We'll come right.
Perhaps one day I'll hit the lotto, then my bills would all be paid. Money no longer would be a bother. My life would never be the same. We could travel all around this world, fly first class every day. But if I never hit the lotto, would you still love me anyway? Perhaps one day I'll reach the big time. The whole world would know my name. Well, every other magazine cover would use me for their campaign. We would be the hardest couple around, from New York to LA. But if I never reach the big time, would you still love me anyway? Perhaps one day I'll have the answers for every question that's ever been. Most brilliant minds of our time will call me colleague and friend. We would never have any problems at all. I'd solve them each right away. if I never have the answers, would you still love me anyway? If I never hit the lotto or reach the big time one day, if I never have the answers, would you still love me? Would you still love me anyway?